Picture this, a young boy in Welch, West Virginia, struggling to finish a sentence in class because of a stubborn stutter. That was Steve Harvey. Have you ever felt like your biggest obstacle would always define you? Steve certainly did. Teachers doubted him, even told his dad that Steve was being a smart aleck for dreaming of a career on television. But you know what? His dad saw something different, a spark, neuroplasticity. That magical ability of the brain to rewire itself worked overtime for Steve as he battled his speech impediment, determined not to be silenced. Now, you might be thinking, how does a kid like that land on the world stage? Let me tell you, grit and resilience, two words that sound like motivational posters. But for Steve, they were the fuel in his tank. He wrote his dream down, even as his teacher rolled her eyes. Years later, after he'd made it, he sent her a television every Christmas, a poetic punchline if there ever was one. The setup was a childhood packed with challenge. The conflict was society's low expectations, and the resolution? Steve Harvey standing in the spotlight, microphone in hand, his voice finally clear and booming. If you've ever wrestled your demons in the dark, remember, sometimes the stage you end up on is built from the very things you were told would keep you silent. Now, fast forward to the 1980s. Steve's first act on the comedy circuit wasn't all glitz and glamour. In fact, his green room was a battered 1976 Ford that doubled as his bedroom. Imagine showering at gas stations, saving every penny for the next meal. Talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, stripped to survival mode. Let's get real. Would you sleep in your car 3 years chasing a dream? The entertainment industry, with its relentless gatekeeping and the law of supply and demand, think, too many comics, not enough gigs, nearly broke him. But Steve kept showing up, night after night, fueled by what he called divine dissatisfaction. That's the tension between where you are and where you believe you're meant to be a force as real as gravity. And here's the twist. During this darkest chapter, strangers stepped in. The List family gave him a carpet cleaning gig, a little credit at a travel agency. Angels in street clothes, he calls them. If you're listening right now, stuck in your own valley, Steve's story proves that even when the world says no, persistence and a little help can turn a punchline into a standing ovation. So how does a comic who once lived in his car become a household name, an Emmy-winning, multi-platform powerhouse? Let me introduce you to the Harvey formula: adaptability and authenticity. When he took the helm of Family Feud in 2010, ratings soared. That's not luck. That's what economists call value proposition. Steve brought his own flavor, revitalizing a classic by making every moment feel both spontaneous and deeply human. Now, you might ask, isn't hosting just reading questions off a card? Not for Steve. He turned the art of crowd work, an improv technique that relies on audience interaction, into appointment television. His timing, honed through decades of stand-up, became the backbone of each awkward answer and viral moment. And when he famously announced the wrong Miss Universe winner, crisis management and humility, two leadership traits, were on display as he publicly owned the error and kept moving forward. But Steve didn't stop at TV. He became an author, philanthropist, and business mogul, launching Steve Harvey Global and supporting youth through his foundation. The resolution of his story? Reinvention, impact, and using every platform to amplify his message that you can build a legacy from laughter, hard lessons, and the courage to keep showing up, no matter how improbable the odds. Let's pull back and ask, why does Steve Harvey's story resonate so deeply? Is it the humor? The heartbreak? I think it's the bridge he built between the two, a rare emotional intelligence that psychologists call empathic attunement. Steve doesn't just make people laugh, he makes them feel seen. From the game show contestant to the kid at his youth camp who's never had a father figure. Imagine for a moment you're a young person, unsure of your place in the world, and you hear Steve say, "Your gift is your parachute. Jump and let it open on the way down." That's not just metaphor, it's an invitation to defy gravity through belief and action. His philanthropic work is more than charity. It's a transfer of hope, a renewable resource if there ever was one. In the end, Steve Harvey's legacy is a masterclass in perseverance and reinvention. The setup, a boy with a stutter. The conflict, a world that said no. The resolution, a man who said yes to himself and then brought the rest of us along for the ride. If you're searching for proof that laughter can be a lifeline, look no further than the story of Steve Harvey.